So I've just bought a lot of exciting new accessories for my growing cigar collection and burgeoning hobby. So I thought it would be a useful video today to sit down and film a collection of all of the little accoutrements that I've picked up, especially for those of you out there who are a little bit newer to the hobby or a bit unsure, or perhaps need inspiration for some good accessories to accompany or enhance your smoking experience. Now, at this stage, it's probably worth me again mentioning, as I do with all my videos, that I would never consider myself a cigar connoisseur, even though I've gotten definitely a lot more knowledgeable and better at smoking them. But there are so many perspectives I think people should be getting online anyway, mine included, that I think it's just a useful comparison point. I say that because while there is usually an etiquette and a typical process of smoking cigars, it is a deeply personal experience. It's a personal preference on things you do, don't like, what does and doesn't work for you. And it's also important to segue, as many of you will know that is coming, a disclaimer is probably due because we are talking about tobacco. If you are not 18 plus, please click off this video and wait till you're of age. People get up in arms around this, which is a topic for another time, maybe a little bit of a rant, to be honest, because I don't understand why people who have a disdain for tobacco will actively come and seek out tobacco videos. It seems a little bit sadistic. And also, if you don't like cigars, just please leave the community alone. Don't tell grown-ass adults what they can and cannot do. And actually, tobacco is the least of our problems, especially in a world of other excesses in life that are way, way worse. But again, topic for another time. Let's go into the main portion, which is showing and telling, I guess, the items that I've gotten. And is, again, from the perspective of somebody who, you know, if I was new to cigars, I would want to at least have these basics. So let's talk first of all about storage. A lot of cigar enthusiasts will encourage you, and I will be also jumping on that bandwagon, to invest in something known as a humidor. Now, as you can probably gather from the name humidor, it controls humidity, which is very important for cigars because they are made of tobacco. It's a leaf, okay? It was alive at one point, and so you want to make sure that it has the right humidity so it doesn't dry out and crack into dust. If you only have a few here and there and you tend to just buy them as you're in a bar or a cigar lounge or something like that, then maybe you don't need a humidor. But certainly if you are looking to broaden out your selection, your own personal collections, then I would highly recommend, if not say is compulsory, to get a humidor, because it's just going to make your life easier when it comes to maintaining them all, especially if you're aging as well. It's pretty much a non-negotiable. So you can pick these up pretty inexpensively. You can go on Amazon, you can go on any kind of cigar accessory website. I won't teach you how to suck eggs. We all know how to use search engine. This one I think was only like £100 on Amazon. As you can see, every time I keep moving it, the humidity drops. So I might want to just add some humidor solution or put another sachet in because it was 70 earlier, which is the sweet spot of humidity. You should, to supplement your humidor, be getting humidifying solutions. So that can be either in a sachet form, like this Boveda sachet right here, which is the one that you will see a lot of cigar shops using when they package your order for you. Or you can get a liquid format, which is like this Claro Case Elegance solution. Outside of the humidor, you can also invest in more state-of-the-art options. This one I think fits around 50, 60 maximum cigars, depending on the size. You can obviously get bigger, you can get smaller as well. But as long as they maintain your humidity and your cigars are not all stacked on each other and all, you know, squished together that they would crack, you are good to go. And then when you're going out and about, when you're traveling on the go, I would also recommend that you invest in a carrying case or pouch. And I have both. I guess it depends on the terminology, right? Carrying case, pouch, kind of interchangeable. This is a little carrying case here, and it's got a little cutter as well, which is great that you can slide in the top. And you know, this one fits 3 cigars. There's nothing in here at the moment because I don't need to use it right now. But then I have this pouch, which is so epic. I got this just recently and it's personalized, which I absolutely love. It's got Mel in the corner here that you can see. And I got this off Etsy. So if you want to check them out, I will add the link in the description so you can peruse. But this is in this beautiful burgundy leather. It's got a pocket on the back, which is great for phones and, you know, could be passports or other documentation. Then when you open it, you have all of this storage inside. And I just love the idea of having everything organized on the go all the time, because I hate having to put cigars in my handbags just rolling around or anything like that. So I wanted a dedicated pouch that's a little bit bigger, roomier, more robust than this 3 cigar option. And this can also double as a little bit of a handbag for me, who's a mother of handbags, which is perfect. So in here, I've got little compartments for every accessory that you can think of, right? Your matches, your lighters, you know, pens even, cutters, and of course a big pouch here for your cigars. It's not going to be for everybody. It's by no means an essential, but certainly if you find yourself on the go a lot with your cigars, you definitely want to make sure they are kept in pristine condition. So in that regard, I find that a case pouch somewhere in between is always a good option to have. And now let's move on to the accessories portion of this video, of which I realized a lot of them are actually in this case. Now, of course, one of the first accessories that you want to make sure that you get is a cigar ashtray, because obviously you don't want it balancing on a very, very tiny cigarette ashtray. It's just not going to work. Considering getting the ashtray that is currently outside in my garden furniture, but it's raining actually outside, so I don't really fancy going out and getting it. And a lot of these can look expensive, but actually they're relatively inexpensive. I've gotten good ashtrays that are about 25, 30 British pounds. And I find, you know, I don't need anything too fancy, because oftentimes if I'm smoking outside in the comfort of my home, the wind is very powerful. And we've also had a cigar ashtray smash recently. It was a cool Cohiba one. So I know now not to invest super highly in those ashtrays. Then we move on to cutters. And cutters we have in this little pouch right here. With purchases, I always get a selection of cutters. So yeah, I do have a lot here. Not a bad thing, because cheap ones are great for on the go. If I lose them, I lose them. 3 common ones are the guillotine, the punch cutter, and the cat's eye cutter. This is a guillotine, as you can see, like a guillotine. And you can get a punch cut specifically, which I don't have actually at the moment. Technically I don't, you'll see why in a minute. It's like a potato borer, where you bore a hole, but it's just very small. You can put it on a key ring and it'll punch a little hole. Then you have a cat eye cutter, which is like the guillotine, but it has, you know, a kind of cat eye shape. So obviously this will depend on the size of the cigar type, or it's just personal preference. I love a cat eye cut, and a guillotine cut is always a really good basic one to do. Not so much a fan of the punch cut. It does feel like I'm trying to sip on a cardboard straw. Having said that, I'm somebody who's also very indecisive at times, and I don't want to have loads and loads of cutters around. So I've actually gotten this cutter, and it's by a brand called Cigar. Now this doesn't look like much, but this is actually 3-in-1. I bought this in Strasbourg in a cigar shop there. It was great. As soon as I saw it and it said 3-in-1, it said that in French, I was like, is this for real? Can it really do all of them? And he showed me. We click this once and you can see we've got the cat eye cutter here, the guillotine cut here, and then up top, that, my friends, is the punch cutter. It's nice and weighty, but not overly so. It feels really high quality, and this is just very satisfying. Then outside of cutters, you'll want to get yourself a lighter. Obviously, this is kind of a contentious topic, and I realize in some videos I need to clarify, or should have clarified further in detail, because there is a debate around should you be using certain lighters versus others. The lighter that I have used in a lot of my videos is this one. This is not a Zippo lighter. Obviously, if you need to, who's going to judge you? I mean, people will always have their preferences and people will always have something to say, but if it works for you and it's just what you have, it's what you have. And this particular lighter is a cigar lighter, and you can tell that because it actually has a cigar rest on top of it, which is awesome. And you can actually adjust the heat setting on the bottom so you don't get a crazy flame like currently I do. Right, so it's a blue flame. Obviously, you can get more gentle, yellower, oranger flame by turning it down. But just making sure that you have a lighter that's not super aggressive, that doesn't have like, you know, heavy sulfur, you know, the butane smell afterwards, because that will taint your cigar. And I love the fact that this also has the holder, while by no means a compulsory thing. It's a nice to have, because sometimes in certain restaurants or bars, they only have cigarette ashtrays. Then I will use this, which is great. I will always keep a pack of matches as well on me. I get matches basically on every purchase that I make of cigars, so I don't feel like I've needed to buy matches for a very long time. These are from the Ritz. Definitely also bring matches, especially if you are smoking indoors. Now, obviously, if you're smoking out in a lounge, this doesn't apply. A lot of this does not apply. If you're in a lounge, they'll give you all these things or do it for you, which is awesome. Part of the service that you're paying a premium for. If you have the facilities to smoke indoors, or you have the air conditioning, you have the humidifiers, all those kind of rigmarole, lucky you, then you can definitely smoke with matches. Or if it's a very calm day with no wind, the matches are better. It doesn't alter the taste, the aromas of your cigar as much as a lighter. But obviously we can't control the weather, and sometimes the lighter just needs to do its job. An optional accessory that I don't currently have on me, it's in delivery at the moment, is a cigar pick, almost like a cocktail stick or holder for your cigar. So my general rule of thumb is to smoke just around or under a third of the cigar in its length. But if something is really nice and you want to keep going and you don't want to burn your fingers on the tobacco, then you can obviously get yourself a cigar pick. There's some really cool ones. And then of course, the last accessory that you want to get to finish your whole collection off is some actual cigars. So here I've got a box which has Cuba on it because it was bought, surprise in Cuba, and you know, these are just some of the selections that we've got here. I mean, this is basically all the 8 Chapmans that I recently just bought. There's a separate video of me unboxing those, and we have the Bebida sachets as well to maintain the humidity control. Now, I personally always make sure that I have a nice healthy mixture of Cubans and New Worlds in differing sizes, whether that be, you know, ring gauge, shapes, lengths, or whether that be just a quick unwind versus a 2-hour deep and meaningful chat, making sure that you have something for every occasion, but also catering to your own palate. Whatever that might be, make sure that you get a nice selection just so that you can find anything for the mood that you are feeling. And now let's finish off with some miscellaneous items. So if you're smoking at a bar or terrace, this particular item won't particularly apply. But if you are at home and you tend to smoke a lot at home, then you want to make sure that you have the right furniture, because Lord knows we don't want to smoke an elegant cigar on a random deck chair or stool. So personally, we have garden furniture, we have a parasol as well, so that we can smoke in all rain or shine. If you have a conservatory, obviously you can do it there, but just making sure that you have like the air conditioning or humidity control units. Then in terms of other miscellaneous items, you probably want some sort of liquid accompaniment. So that could be things like coffee, whiskey, rum, alcoholic, non-alcoholic, doesn't really matter, because it's not about necessarily the actual act of smoking, but it's all around the luxuriation and kind of process around it. I would suggest, as a nice to have, by no means necessary, but very, very sweet idea, is to have a notepad or storage to contain all of your labels, or even just like little mini reviews or notes that you have on each of your cigars. Just a nice way to keep tabs and also to remember some of the great brands and memories. So in closing, I would say some final tips around buying cigar accessories, or indeed just anything cigar related in general, is buy cheap or, you know, mid-range at best first, because you'll make your mistakes, you might lose something, you won't be then upset with the amount of money that you've spent. It's just better to start off cheap and work your way up in this respect. And actually, a lot of cigar shops that you buy from will give a lot of these accessories as freebies, which I would also recommend that you keep hold of, especially as throwaways or just to learn, especially at the beginning. With your accessories, especially if they are very, very expensive, I would say get them personalized if you can, like with this case. So that helps you against theft, which is not a nice topic to talk about, but it's a reality, right? Or even just in a best case scenario, like not getting mixed up with other people's accessories. And then I would say when it comes to actually purchasing items, make sure that you shop around, whether that be in store, which I personally would suggest that you have the actual look and feel of what you're going to get, but also making sure that you compare pricing. And I personally always try and buy abroad, because I always get like, you know, either tax-free items or lower tax than compared to buying it in London or the UK. And then the last tip that I have is that of enjoying experimentation. So there's going to be a learning process to the accessories and even cigars that you buy. So don't be shy of the fact that you'll probably need to kiss a few frogs in that respect. So with all of that being said, those are my cigar accessories and tips that I recommend, especially if you're just starting out. If you have any additional accessories or other tips, locations where to buy those kind of things, then please do leave them down in the comments below. I'm sure a lot of people find those helpful. So with that being said, I'll leave this video here. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll catch you in my next one.